Hello, welcome to a very special episode of Armchair Pundits. Today we'll be discussing all things Liverpool, and we've got a couple of new guests that you may not have met before. So today we've got Lenzo, Jason, and James, our usual host. So guys, Liverpool, what's going on?
Um, if I if I was to start off, I would say I think this is a transition period. It happened to us before, but with injuries, and it happened to City like 2 seasons ago. You can't keep playing at the same level for all this consistently without refreshing the group. Coming into this season, I think over the last 4 years, there's 1 point difference between us and City. If it weren't for City, we probably would have like 10 Premier League titles. Now I'm joking. About 4 Premier League titles. I think we've had, if I remember correctly, in the last 4 years or 3 years, we've had more total points, like in the top 5 or top 10 of total points, Premier League points. So there's not much that's gone wrong. So there has to be a dip at some stage, and this is the dip. So it's just about recouping and just trying to make the top 4 at this rate and getting a good Champions League run. I think we've been blessed. We don't want to be one of them teams or them kind of fans that be like, oh, we need to be great every year. We've been really, really blessed with a good side. So now it's about, can we recoup and go for and like get that top 4 and get a good Champions League run, hopefully.
I kind of agree with you when you say you've been blessed, but I think when you have some of our fan base tend to have an emotional standpoint and think that we're going to be great all the time, and probably haven't
I don't
probably
I
haven't
don't think that's just our fan base, Jason. I think that's every fan base.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but
That's
I,
true.
I I I tend to avoid a lot of other people's fan base just for that very point. But I think we have to have a balanced view of how the season's panned out so far. And again, it's still October. Like nothing's won in October, and I'm not saying that's not to me say that we're gonna win the Prem because we're not.
Yeah,
But
bro, we're
it's
gonna
just the
win it.
fact. But just the fact that nothing. Everyone's talking about top 4. No, why are we even talking about top 4 in October when last time? To be honest, top 4 is not really settled until March. That doesn't start. The race is there active in March. Arsenal know about that. That Tottenham know about that last season as well. So people talking about top 4 are just doing this hyperbole thing because that's just what fans do. In terms of Liverpool, I think it's poor planning in the midfield department because it doesn't take a blind man to see that you need to refresh your midfield with the system that we play, and which has led to which has led to more defensive mistakes, which is based on people have easy access to our centre backs and our right hand side of midfield, which a lot of people that are looking from a surface level say, "Oh no, it's just Trent's playing bad, or he can't defend, or da da da." That's not how football works. There's systems in place, and if you don't update your players in your system, the players that are there stop getting used to stop doing the things that they used to do because one, they're getting older, so it's harder for them to exert that same amount of energy, and two, sometimes the message doesn't always get through once you've been on that cycle. So that's where we're at in terms of the the season so far. The good thing about this, in a weird way, is the fact that Klopp admitted that he made a mistake.
Mm.
And in the history of, if you know Klopp, he's never come out and said before he made a mistake. When he was at Dortmund, he made a similar mistake. And what was interesting is the board said they should have not sacked him. They should have just gone and bought the players that he needed.
Mm.
No,
So
he
it
did. They
just
didn't sack him though,
now
did he? He left.
It's
Or is
mutual.
it like a mutual?
it
It
was
was
it was
mutual.
mutual, but
Yeah.
they were saying they should have kept him
Yeah, they should have
because
convinced him to stay.
they convinced him to stay because they knew they had to go and reinvent themselves and buy the players. And I think one thing, because he admitted that he made the mistake, they tried to rectify it too late. because obviously they went and got offer, but there is underlying kind of rumors that they asked Brighton about Salcido, they asked Wolves about Neves
In the
on the
last
last
week of the
day,
transfer window.
last week of transfer. It's not going to happen. Wolves said 85 million for Neves, and then Brighton said a similar, said slightly lower price for Salcido, but they're not going to. And there was talk about Tillmans, but I think a lot of the fan base don't really want Tillmans in our system. Not to say Tillmans not a good player, it's just in our system, Tillmans is not really. Well, for me personally, Tillmans is not. I'm not a fan for our system.
I disagree, boy. I would have taken him.
Have you seen
Yeah,
him run?
And normally we do business quite early in the window.
Yeah.
Last 3 years, like last couple of years, we've been like we're signing this guy, done. Summer's done. Yeah, let's go. We've been quite good of late. Yeah.
For me, our issues similar to what Jason said. It's poor planning, and the poor planning has gone back as far as the Champions League. Like Liverpool were known for outrunning teams. Our midfield wasn't fancy, it was robust, but it got the job done, and it helped us with our forwards press teams, which meant that we could have a high line because our midfield worked as hard as they could, and our forwards pressed. There were no gaps, and there was no point kicking it over the centre backs or the full backs' heads because it would never work. So you look at the Champions League, that squad, we've signed 2 midfielders. Santiago, who doesn't actually suit the normal Klopp style, but we all wanted him, so none of us are going to complain we got Thiago. Let's just get that straight. Not complaining we got him, we all wanted him. But then our next signing was Arthur on the last day. So it's really poor. Banking everything on Tchouaméni and Bellingham was ridiculous. We could have signed guys that even obviously we're nobodies. There's guys who I thought, you know what, this guy could do a job. And for 30 million, you could bring him along and still buy Bellingham next summer. So someone like Kone, who's at Mönchengladbach, whether we went for him, I don't know, because we never know those kind of things. But he's a kind of young...
It's not easy to say that, though, James.
Yeah,
you can't just spend 30 million and then put in another 80 million for Bellingham the next season, bro.
No, we need 3 midfielders. It's not one. Henderson his legs are gone.
I agree. I agree with you. We need 3 midfielders.
We need 3 midfielders.
It's not even
I understand that, but you don't want to just get in someone who you don't think is the level of what you need in your team.
No, he is. But for me, he is. Because what he does... Go on, Jay.
Now, I agree with you in a sense. For what we need him for, his role, that he's needed. Example, if we had Bentancur in our midfield, we'd be okay. We'd be able to patch a little patchwork. Like if I compare it to Spurs have 3 workhorses in midfield, and Bentancur is a slightly better one in terms of technical ability.
Yeah, he can fight a pass.
They can't. The rest, they generally can't pass for love nor money.
There's no creativity within that midfield. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Tottenham today.
No. But I'm comparing in terms of when you say that if I could take Bentancur and bring it to the Liverpool side, I'd feel comfortable that he's in my midfield. And also, one problem that Liverpool have had is we've run Fabinho to the ground.
Yes.
Like Fabinho has been covering 100 meters every game. Like there's too many gaps for it. Like before, when we had Jin next to him, them two could cover like the pitch. And then you know.
It actually annoys me.
Wijnaldum's a big loss.
Yeah. How can you not replace, like, gaps-wise, people... There's a lot of people that don't rate what Wijnaldum did for us. Because he'll go and play for Holland, he'll score goals, he'll come back to us, and it looks like all he did is play pass sideways. But there was more to his game than that. His intelligence to know where an attack was going to actually happen and be there beforehand to close it. People don't see that kind of thing in the intelligence that he had for us, and we lost that when we got rid of him. And you have to replace those guys. We didn't replace him, which is stupid. So that's why I was more annoyed that this summer, so that we didn't get a midfielder this summer. We didn't get a midfielder 2 summers in a row, and now and then we went 4 deep. Went for 4 competitions, and played more games almost. I think Chelsea played a similar amount of games, but more games than anyone else. And now we're dead. Everyone's like, what's happened to Liverpool? We didn't actually fix our main issue, which was our athleticism and the gaps that we had. We get an outrun by every team. How are we going to play against Man United and get outrun by Man United? It's just ridiculous. And amongst the other teams, I think we got outrun. Leeds is normal. I can understand being outrun by Leeds because that's what they do. But being outrun by West Ham and other teams like that, for me, that's unacceptable. You get our assistant manager that comes out with a book called Intensity. It's like he ripped it away from them and told everyone else how to outdo us in terms of intensity.
But you hit the nail on the head in terms of the season, last season to this season, the turnover is really quick. So where again it goes to poor planning is the fact that because we played so many games, there should have been someone to say, look, and actually someone did actually. No, to be honest, the what's came out from a few Liverpool sources that they came and said, here is Nunes who's gone to Wolves, and the club's I'm fine with my midfield. But after he admitted he was wrong, but they so this is where there's this clip with fans where they say, oh well, the board's not backing him. Yes, to a degree, I understand that point. But if the same board have come to you and saying, here you are, here's
Take
Nunes,
this guy.
you say, take this guy, because if you look at Nunes, and yes, he's in a struggling side, a lot of people won't see the vision, but he's exactly what we need.
Yeah,
because he's good at both feet, he can shoot, he can tackle. He's still a bit raw, but he has the capability to play in our midfield where we struggle. And I see other people turn their nose up when we was that about Nunes, Neves, and Salcido. But for how we play,
Caicedo will be excellent. Excellent.
We need those kind of players. Like when I look at Fabinho now, he's been asked to run the whole pitch. There's too much space. There's way too much space for any central midfield player. Your legs are going to be finished if you're going to run all that time, like in a game. And then obviously we have Thiago, he's brilliant at what he is. But where you said back to your point about you may not suit the style, but the vision and what they're saying was that Thiago was brought to help advance the team. And in a certain aspect, last season it helped because he was able to. You see the difference
breaking down
when he's not
tough defenses.
When he's in the side, even just being able to retain the ball, basics like that.
The problem we have with Thiago is too good for us. It sounds wild, but Thiago is miles better than everyone.
You've said this before.
I don't think it's that though, Lenny. Because for me, we bought Thiago, and then we didn't buy to keep up with Thiago. It's almost like we bought Thiago. Here you go. Here's this fantastic player. Now the rest of you just look up to him and give him the ball. Whereas what we should have done, bought Thiago, bought another better midfielder, and you bridge the gap, and then your midfield becomes better. But we bought him and left the not trash, but left the trash there.
James is acting like he's playing Lego, just buy it, put it on top of it.
I have a perfect example of this. The best example of this is probably Real Madrid. Real Madrid, in terms of their midfield, are now set for the future in what they've done, and they've kept the old. And this is partly we didn't have to just get rid of players, but you could have kept the old and refreshed.
And they'll never do that though. They'll never do that. We spoke about this earlier. Klopp's loyalty is also part of the problem because Klopp's openly said if a player doesn't want to leave, then they can stay. So then when in the summer, Keita doesn't want to leave and Milner doesn't want to leave, actually give him a contract extension, and Ox doesn't want to leave, then Klopp rightly turns around and says, well, if I've got these three midfielders, well, okay, not rightly, because they're injury prone, but Klopp says, I've got these three midfielders that are taking up cap space, who do I bring in? So where he should have done, he said, okay, you know what, Keita, it doesn't let you get a sign new contract, we're selling you this summer. You find someone, you sell him. Ox, I think you've done well for us, I like you, but I think you need to go somewhere that training is not going to injure you all the time, and you can actually try and get to England squad to do it. You sell him. That way, we then can buy players. Because the argument always is, why the Klopp always comes up with, well, where do I play these guys if I've got these two? But those two don't play.
Also,
I don't blink
another
The other thing,
eggs.
the other thing I was going to say, sorry, Jason. I was just going to say, do you think that Klopp's loyalty is the reason behind this so-called 7-year curse that Klopp has had with Dortmund, and
Partly.
potentially, obviously, this is just the start of the season, so it's early days. But realistically, do you think that's part of the reason why this so-called curse? And obviously, he's dispelled that it's nonsense, but that's part of the reason why it has gone stale, is because of that loyalty.
No, I buy into that to a degree. Yes.
Klopp's loyalty is the reason why the players play so well for him.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's a double-edged sword.
You both said
it. In reality, it's the thing of, as I said, the only positive I see is the fact that he understood his mistake, and he's vocal that. Now it's just the fact it's whether in January he stands on that and
Forget
goes
January.
and
We got new signings. As soon as the World Cup's finished, we're gonna have a brand new signing in Ox. We're gonna have a brand new signing in Keita. We're gonna have a brand new signing end of January in Alpha. That's what's gonna be said. We all know this. January's a myth for us.
The World Cup is obviously messed up a lot of planning for a lot of clubs, and you can see that. So, there's players that you can see they're getting ready for the World Cup. After the World Cup, there's going to be no excuses. Once that break is over, I think that's where we're really going to see how the season pans out.
Yeah, it's a shame the way the World Cup is, because it's made like you said, there's people probably not playing as good because they're concerned about injuring themselves in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Man,
there's one
because there's so many people.
There's one particular brother in our side that is waiting for the World Cup.
Is that Van Dijk? Is that Van Dijk?
Yeah, he's leisuring around the pitch.
I agree.
He's only had one intense, one intense game that was against Haaland. Because he said, this guy's not coming here.
Do you know what? You kind of understand though. He's been injured at every single major thing, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Len, I understand. It's understandable. And it's, for us, unfortunate that we've had him, like we've got Kanote injured. And I hark back to him because I think he bridges the gap in terms of athleticism, and he actually reads the game. But
our problem is not athleticism in defence. The problem in defence is
Gomez
is not making. Yeah, Gomez is not.
It's partly lack of protection, though, as you said.
The thing is, when I say athleticism, is that you see that right hand side. Yeah, what I've realised Matip and Kanote do is when the ball they get to that part, they don't have a delay. Where Gomez has this delay when he goes.
You're saying this about Gomez. Gomez has only played the last 4 games. We've been bad from the start of the season.
No, I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying in terms of, when I look at our centre backs, and I'm saying that Gomez, I love Gomez. And Gomez is still rusty. The injury he had, it's 18 months for you to get back to any sort of full fitness. I'm just saying that we haven't had the flexibility. Last season, people forget, our squad, we had the flexibility to say, you know what? We started Kanote away at Old Trafford. That was his first away game. We started Kanote at home against Crystal Palace, the 3rd game in the season. All right, Matip, have a rest. We was able to rotate players. We was able to, Thiago, you need to rest today. Keita, you're going to play in his place. Then when Keita, at 60 minutes, Keita, you can come off. Jones can come on. You had that availability.
And that's one of the reasons why Matip got injured, because he was the only one with Van Dijk fit at the start of the season. Yeah. And Matip has been our best defender for over a year now. He's been by far better than, people might not say it's a year, Van Dijk. And Matip is the best one on the ball. Does all this step overs, he's running
going forward, dribbling with the ball forward and taking up that space.
Dribbling forward and playing through the lines.
Yeah.
He doesn't hesitate to play through the lines. And that's part of it. We haven't had the availability of players in our squad to even rotate, to even say, okay, cool. It's literally been bare bones from the beginning of the season,
But
And
apparently
even the
we
whole
don't have
thing,
a club doctor.
like,
Did you read that?
We don't have a main. We don't have a main
Say
club
what?
doctor. We've obviously we've
Yeah,
got
we don't have a club doctor.
doctors,
Like
but
a
we don't
main
have a
one,
head
no.
club doctor. We don't have a
yeah,
head
don't
club
have a
doctor.
head doctor,
We've
and
got,
that
we've
goes
got all the other stuff.
to
So that's why
to
they're
planning again.
misdiagnosing man, saying it's got a hammy
Yeah.
injury, then it's got
I was gonna
a
say-
leg injury. You know.
It's
I'm
not
joking,
why.
I'm joking,
It's
I'm
not
Oh,
why.
no,
Joking,
you
but
get
it's
a
a
lot
I
of
can't
story.
lie to you.
Yeah.
Dortmund used to get a lot of
Also,
injuries
there's
under
one point I
Klopp's
want to bring
regime.
up.
Do you think the way that his style of play and the way what he demands from the team is causing some of those injuries? Because it's not
No,
like
I'm gonna counter that. We
Go on.
don't actually. We never used to get loads of injuries.
No, because we had that other
until-
doctor though. Remember, we had that
Yes,
other.
and
that other
now
doctor.
we've got the ex Arsenal guy. The ex Arsenal guy is now back at the club,
Yeah.
and he was him when he was at Arsenal. Bare injuries, bare
Is it
injuries.
Morgan?
So
Is it Morgan that we
yeah,
got back?
bare injuries. Yeah, and it's like we hide him, and all of a sudden, I'm saying there's a link there. Like there's a clear link.
No, first of all, you
I'm
shouldn't be
not saying-
hiring any Arsenal guys.
Yeah, but I'm saying that if he might not, he's clearly not the best at his job to maybe diagnose the players.
No, that's not fair.
He's a top. I like to say he's a top professional. And
Yeah, I'm speaking in jest before anyone takes me too seriously. I'm speaking in jest, but in terms of even if you look at we lost Jota. Jota is one of our main guys in terms of who Klopp can
that's
rely
Klopp's
on.
fault, bruv.
he
I
rushed
told
it
you this
back.
already. That's Klopp's
Yes.
fault.
He rushed
The
it back.
Rangers game, the game before the Rangers game, they said Klopp, this guy cannot start. He can't start this game because he's a risk of injury. So he doesn't start the game. Next game, common sense will tell you don't play 90 minutes that next game against Man City, which is the most intense game of your season. He plays 90 something minutes and gets injured. Take him off for 80 minutes, 85 minutes.
No, I got
Take
injured
him
in
off.
about the 80 something.
No, it wasn't. It was like 90th minute, bro. I'm pretty sure he got through to 90th. That's why we ended up playing like 98, 99 minutes.
He got injured because he probably played ball to Nunes.
Yeah, take him
Yeah.
off before that, and then where it's very likely we win against Nottingham Forest and we win against Leeds because he's the kind
Torres,
of person we're missing right now.
Like,
And I'd say it's Klopp and the medical team's fault because they should have told him the same advice. Okay, cool. This day he can't play 90. He can't start the game. Okay, this game he can't play 90 minutes. That could be very simple thinking, but that's how it seems to me.
but it also comes to a part of it. Like we know that sometimes Klopp takes a while to trust players.
Yeah.
And sometimes that goes against us because it's like obviously Robertson is the better left back, but a lot of the time we could actually rotate the two.
Yeah.
Because
He started. It seemed like he did it at the beginning of the season.
He only did that because he started to trust him. Remember, he started to trust him at the end of our season.
Yeah.
But it took him a while to trust him.
Mm-hmm.
But the drop in quality is not.
It's not chalk and cheese.
It's not chalk and cheese. Yeah,
Defending
Robertson is definitely more.
Yeah, Robertson is a better player. There's no doubt
Yeah,
about
it's a better player, but it's more intense.
I don't watch us when Tsimikas plays and be like, damn, I miss Robertson. Oh man, we got Tsimikas playing.
And I need to know why can't Ramsey get a little 15 minutes?
He's playing because the reason for that is because he had no preseason. He's literally doing the games with us, and then he's playing with the under 21s to get his game time.
I hear that, but he can
If
get
he's on a
15
bench,
minutes.
give him 20 minutes.
Yeah. Give him 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna give him 15 minutes to get play under the lights.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about right backs, bro. Let's not talk about right backs, please. It's so subject for me.
You got three good ones, didn't you?
Bro, we got one good one, and he's not playing, bro. Just know
we
that.
should have signed Spence, and if we had signed Spence, we'll be blessed right now. Spence will be pushing Trent.
Listen, you said we should have signed Spence. We sold them Spence's replacement, and then we're gonna go sign Spence. That make no sense.
No, but in all honesty, he wasn't theirs though, innit? It was Middlesbrough's. None of Forest didn't own him. It was on loan from Middlesbrough.
True.
Yeah.
So
Who's this?
but I get you.
Oh,
It was on loan, innit?
Hey, I was say, it's not a general podcast. I was say Williams today when he came on was doing some stuff going forward.
He's a left wing back now, innit? He's a left wing back.
But he was doing some stuff, some good tech. I was impressed, but obviously it is what it is. But in general, I do think that at the moment it's patchwork.
Yeah.
Our side is patchwork. Even the 4-2 that formation, like
There's still gaps. I'm sorry. I know you said when we spoke privately, you said that there's less, but I watch us play, and 2-3 passes gets us in on the goalkeeper so many times. Or if it's not in the goalkeeper, they're in on the back four, and it's like a 3-on-4.
But James, that's partly because of the formation. If you've only got 2 men in there and teams are playing with 3, or you're overloading you in midfield, that's something that teams couldn't do against Liverpool, because you had 3 guys that were literally so energetic. You couldn't, no one could outrun them, and they used to win the ball so early. It wasn't easy for teams to even get out of their own third of the pitch. Now teams are able to do that because your strikers are not pressing as a cohesive unit. And that's actually something I was going to ask you. Do you feel like the selling Mane is partly the reason why that cohesive unit is not there anymore? Do you feel like he was disrespected?
It's bigger than that. It's bigger than
there's
that.
Even another. There's another thing.
I was saying to these guys earlier, and it goes back to what I said before. Henderson decline, Milner decline. Then you lose Marcel Mane. Those 3 press. Genie, presser. Those 4 guys are either here or not here, or they've declined. And then you take into the person who does press for us in Diaz, injured. So all the people that
Diaz
press for us generally are not there anymore.
Diaz, no, and Diaz injured, Jota injured. They press well.
Yeah,
they understand the system. But now you've got people that don't. Not say they don't understand the system as well.
they're not in tune yet.
But you're not in tune, and also you're having to, like, Firmino has to start because his run of form and his link play is vital to even us getting on the attack.
Yeah.
And he has to play.
Thiago only trusts Firmino. Have you not seen
it? Yeah.
Thiago will look anywhere, see Firmino. All right, let's pass it to him. Yeah.
And no matter who's on him, he's getting the ball.
Biggest thing, obviously, this is like wild fantasy stuff, yeah? But Mbappe becomes available in January. Do we go YOLO and put all sell Salah?
You got to holler at LeBron. You got to holler at all the investors. All the investors to put their money where their mouth is.
If it's to sell Salah, yes.
It's a night come. Do you remember you did that deal for Neymar and that night? Yeah, come and do one for Mbappe with the same sponsors. Yeah. What do you say?
If it's to sell Salah, then you can get away with it. But if we've got money to get Mbappe and pay those wages, then in January, go and get me 2 centre midfielders and a right back. Simple.
I was going to say, because Mbappe doesn't solve the problem that you actually have, which is
it solves my problem.
It solves my problem of not being clinical, because as bad as we are, as bad as we are in terms of our openness, we're not scoring enough goals. We've been open before, but we've won games by winning 3-2 and 4-2 and stuff like that. We can't
always score more.
I can't look at us and say, you know what, we're going to score 3 goals today.
But we're missing the components to score. Like, Jota is key, Diaz is key. That they're not. Diaz is Jota scores you 15 goals a season.
Yeah, minimum. Yeah, Jota's really good
in the Prem.
Yeah,
and
Diaz,
he presses
like you
really
said,
well.
The 3 of Jota and Diaz press really well. So and obviously we don't have that at the moment.
Yeah, and
we've got a lot of forward players. You know, I didn't really think about that until now.
We've got
quite a lot of them.
We've got
young players. And also, what
don't worry, we
still
still want Mbappe.
I'll take him all day. And even the whole thing of losing Mane, what you put up, Mane was an unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah.
It's not unfortunate. He wanted to leave. And a good calculation. Diaz being there, Mane leaving hasn't been an issue in the sense that Diaz
not so much now.
No, because Diaz has been performing, and underlying he's been getting the same. I was looking at something, you know, that like the goal where he is at now, the amount of goals he scored compared to when Mane, like the same length of time, they were on the same kind of path. And obviously,
but Mane joined us at a really bad time, so. Yeah, Diaz is coming into a better situation.
Yeah, no, he's definitely coming in a better situation. But what I'm saying is that generally Diaz has been filling that. So when I've had this discussion with people, oh, you're missing Mane. I said no, but Mane was playing on
The press. I reckon the press.
Yeah.
You're missing the press. Mane presses
Up
with
top.
purpose.
It's a fear factor as well, though. You see, when you look at Liverpool's sheet and you see Mane's on there, teams will be automatically worried.
Yeah, no,
Whereas
100%.
I think you look at our team sheet today, and you don't have that same worry as you would have had last season or the season before. And we've lost the aura. Yes, we were unbeaten at home for a long time. We've now finally lost in front of fans for the first time in 70-something games. But it's going to keep on happening because teams are no longer scared of us. We don't have the aura we had before. And somehow, during this World Cup, we need to find it back. And it will start with getting players back, I'm sure. You're going, Jay?
They're scared of Chaos Ball, a.k.a. Nunes. That's what his nickname is, Chaos Ball. In general, yes, he's rough around the edges. But he actually gives us something that we don't generally have in that fear.
Physical presence.
That presence that we don't generally have. But it's still very raw, rough around the edges. And I'm not expecting people to be like, oh my God, I'm his biggest fan. No, I don't expect anyone to be his biggest fan.
Do you know what's crazy about him, yeah? Is first couple of games, he would shoot on sight. Like, it didn't matter where the ball was, everything. Then, last game,
corner flag.
Might shoot on sight. Like, what's going on? Like, what we do?
Yeah.
Shoot on sight. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
it didn't matter what angle, whatever, corner flag, this guy was shooting. I was like, okay, all right, you want to score, innit? But yesterday, don't get me wrong, he did take some shots, but when he needed him to maybe he's got that about him.
But this like he's got that unpredictability about him, which as he develops will become more potent.
Yeah.
But he does offer a presence because of his speed, his physicality, and he's great in the air. Yes, his touch is very, very rough. I want to use better words, but it's very rough.
What, Lukaku-esque? Is that what you were going to say? No.
But it's unfortunate circumstances though, because you buy him last summer, and you put him in the same team, and the form we're on, you don't notice it as much. But because we're so poor at the moment, it's noticeable because we actually need him. That's the problem. We need him to start as a 10. But
I think the sending off that's what's killed him. Literally, the sending off is what.
Yeah, no,
it's part of the issue. Yeah, 100%. It's part of the issue because then he loses confidence, and then he came back trying too hard.
Yeah,
his first few games he was trying way too hard and making silly mistakes, and maybe that points to the shooting that you were saying, Jason, because he was trying so hard. He was shooting left, right, and center. Now he's settling down. He's got his goals, and now he's actually trying to think more on passing when we actually need him to shoot on sight.
Yeah, because I think generally he's overthinking certain things. Where I think he may be more instinct. The fact that he can shoot with both feet. He is good in the air, and we haven't utilised him in the air. I understand why we haven't, because Trent is further back to a degree. Robertson is kind of giving him more. Robertson being back now means that we'll get more crosses in, but we need that before we had it from both sides. If we had the luxury of him being in last season's team, as you just said, he definitely puts away more goals. But again, it comes because Jota, I don't think they even thought that he would be needed as much because they would have planned that Jota would be the main number 9. Striker. Main number 9. You play Firmino when you can, and Nunes. You bred them in, but I do think we need 2 midfielders, and I need a winger on Salah's side. I need somebody on there, just somebody to come off the bench.
Yeah,
one of them. You know, one of them quick guys.
What, Adama Traore?
Rapid.
I was gonna say Salah. What do you think has gone wrong? I mean, it's been noticeable that since the African Nations Cup final, he's not seemed the same. Obviously, it's devastating to have lost a tournament on penalties and that sort of thing. He still managed to finish joint top goal scorer last season, but do you think that there is something wrong from a confidence perspective? Do you think he's just fatigued? What do you think's gone wrong with Salah?
Do you think he's got an Aubameyang, got the bag, and now he's He's chilling.
Nah,
No,
he's
it
not like
started
that.
last season. It started last season, like you said.
So after
African
African
nations,
Nation,
and don't forget World Cup. He
yeah,
lost the
both
African nations and World Cup spot to Mane.
straight
And
after, and then it wrapped up.
Mane went like this after both of those, and Salah went like that.
Mhm.
You know what?
And
When
then
you're
and
gonna
then
look at it,
Mane
And then Mane jetted.
stuck out.
against City, yeah, there were two
He was on it.
chances he could have just
missed one.
slot across
But as a
to
two that he
Jota to
missed,
score.
then I was like,
Yeah, like both of them,
To
Jota
Jota,
was
yeah,
across the
Jota.
goal.
he would never
Yeah.
miss
Jota was
that.
right.
Yeah,
No, one was a
definitely.
great save by Edison. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah,
It was,
that was.
But he
that
probably
was
should have passed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's right there. Like
Yeah.
Jota's there looking at him. Yo, bro. Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
think he had
strikers.
a point.
Yeah,
A point to prove. I think last season we were, I won't even say fortunate, but in one way that last year we had our three main guys, even say four now, Diaz, took over at different times in the
Yeah.
season. Salah carried us on his back at the beginning of the season, said, "Look, guys, come with me
Yeah.
and watch me score fantastic goals." And then when him and Mane went, Jota said, don't worry, guys, I've got this. Left foot, right foot, headers, I'll
Then, yeah,
score.
then he got injured right before the African nations finished. Then Mane came
and
back.
then Mane came back, and then Diaz came in and was doing no-look passes, and everybody was like, "Oh, rah, we're good." And unfortunate for us, with two of those main factors are injured now, we've been okay. The fact that Firmino said, "Nah, guys, I've still got a bit. I can still do some stuff," but we have a lack of balance across the front. The lack of balance across the front three or two, whatever we're playing, and then the lack of legs in the middle. Certain players just wanted to play hot potato football in the middle when Thiago is not around. Like it's a big factor in our team,
yeah.
and people just
We're playing.
accessing our.
We're playing like multiple formations at the moment. We're playing like a 4-2-1-3, you call it, or
But we're putting
4-2-3-1.
fires out. We're putting out fires every game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have,
and the most important player at the moment in every formation that he's playing is Firmino, because he's the only hybrid that could do. Jota will
Everything.
probably be able to do it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we've got the youngsters like Carvalho and Elliott that'll be able to do it, but Firmino is different gravy, as we all know. Like I
But
said,
back
he's
to
the only
what
one
you
that
said
can
about
go
Salah,
try.
though. I think it's bear with me on this as well, though. But I think Elliot is part of the problem that we have with Salah, because
Two left
Klopp's got so
footers.
much confidence in his ability. He's doing things on the right hand side that Henderson would never have done. So there's less space, so to speak, for Salah to do what he normally did, and there's less
Oh, you mean
less
that
space for
the-
also for Trent, because our right sided midfielder always covered. So it allowed Trent to go forward and not get exposed, and he did stuff with Salah. Whereas now you've added a creative midfielder in there who's doing some more creating, who's not going back as much. Then you lose stuff from Salah, you lose stuff from Trent, but you're gaining from Harvey. But Harvey's not getting assists. He's not getting goals. So then the trade-off is not right.
No, but I will counter that in terms of, remember, we played some of our best football when them three were playing on that,
That was
right
early.
side.
But we were informed. That was early last season.
Yeah, I know, but what we are missing is the fact that Dave's were able to play because behind them, people were able to fill in the gaps.
But I'll say something. Let me have a look, because when you say that, I think before Harvey got injured, we'd drawn a couple of games possibly. We drew the Chelsea game.
We drew against Brentford and
And
Chelsea.
Brentford as well. So we weren't. Okay, we don't really lose games. So that's
No, I can't lie. We was playing with. Remember, we drew those games.
3-3 with Brighton was that before Leeds though? 3-3 with Brighton.
No, that was the Brentford.
Oh, sorry, Brentford. So was that 3-3 Brentford? Was that before the Leeds game though? Before you got injured?
Before.
I thought that was after. But I'll check. Carry on. I'll check.
Because I'm trying to think who else. Because in that Brentford game, Jones played. Fabinho played. Lenny's mate played.
Lenny's mate.
Hendo played.
No.
Yeah, he played. And I can remember we was rotating a lot that midfield, and Hendo was a bit upset because you remember until he scored that goal against AC Milan, and he was like doing that thing where he was looking at the crowd. Everyone was like, "This guy doesn't need to start," because he wasn't starting because everywhere else was playing well.
No, he wasn't there. We started Jones
Who?
that game. But Jones scored. In fact, I remember that 3-3. He wasn't there. He was injured by
Oh,
then.
he scored at the back post.
Yeah,
he
was
scored at the back
injured
post.
by then. By that game.
But before that, we was playing.
That was September 25th. But yeah, we were playing good football. But I don't know. I just think Jones. That's why I say it's hard.
I get what you mean.
I don't think Elliott's playing poorly.
But I get what you mean, though, James.
He doesn't fit.
No, I agree. No, I see what you're saying.
We don't go back to front as quickly as we did because the ball is at the feet. So it means Salah is not 1-on-1 anymore. He's 2-on-1 because by the time the ball gets to him, there's two people doubling up on the other side. So I kind of get what you mean. It's a trade-off between creativity and thing. It's not, like you said, it's not Harvey's playing badly or anything. It's just we're not going back to front as quickly as we used to. But that's not only in Harvey, that's in Thiago as well. We're not going back to front as quickly as we used to.
The question, if we could, now, would you play Jones as one of the front three on the left to provide the... No? The reason why I say this is
actually, I'm thinking who do we have now fit?
Because
I'm playing Nunes.
Because he's the... No, you play Nunes up top. Listen to what I'm...
Let's hear it.
Salah on the left, Jones on the left-hand side of the three, and you play Firmino behind them.
Salah on the left or Salah on the right?
Salah on the right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Salah on the right, Nunes up top, causing chaos. Firmino as the link, and then you have two holding midfield players. The reason why I say Jones on the left, to give us the balance of someone that is got the ability to dribble and keep the ball well, and then that allows it still gives the space to Salah on the right hand side, and you're occupying the team, because and then Firmino is allowed to press in between that gap. It sounds, but it's just because also Jones keeps the ball better, and he's got the athleticism to go back and forth. What we're missing a lot is athleticism, and he's the only one that I can see that I would trust in midfield, because sometimes you would even say to him, you don't need to, even though you're set up as part of the front three, drop in to cover the left. That way everyone can shift across, like cover the space in midfield. That makes sense.
Yeah,
you can play the three. You don't need the four, because what now we're playing four. But there's too many attackers.
And that's why we still got gaps. We still got gaps because there's too many.
And when you look on the bench, you're like, oh,
who do we have left?
That's the only problem with playing four attackers. You look on the bench, you're like.
I honestly think we need to go back to 4-3-3. I know people hate it, but I think we need to say, you need to speak to Henderson and say, listen, Henderson, you need to sort it out. Your job is to cover the gap between the right centre back and.
So you're dropping Milner, you're dropping Elliott. Sorry.
Yeah, for now. Listen, next we've got 3 games left. As bad as it sounds, the way Napoli are playing, they're unbeaten this season. I don't see us beating Napoli in the final game.
I don't see anyone worth playing football at Liverpool playing in that game.
Yes, there you go. But so our next game's Tottenham. Yeah, we know what Tottenham are going to try and do. Tottenham are going to sit back, and then they're going to use Kane and Son to exploit those gaps that we've seen opening. So then you say, listen, Henderson, huh?
Who's after Tottenham?
Southampton, I think, after that.
Yeah,
Southampton.
Is that a Wednesday or Saturday?
It's a midweek game, I think.
I'll check. I'll check while we're talking. But the way I look at it, go back to the 4-3-3. We've now got when we stopped the 4-3-3, we didn't have Thiago available. Thiago's back now. You put him back on the left. You do what you have to do with Fabinho, and we have to try and shake him, get his form back. Play those 3 midfielders. Maybe you do play Jones left wing. Play Jones left wing. Play Salah right. But the problem is we end up dropping Firmino, who's our joint top goal scorer. Salah's gone ahead of him again now, 2 ahead of him. But I think we have to go back to that system and try and get it for a way to work, because playing this diamond, playing this 4-2-4, because a lot of people say it's 4-4-2, it was 4-2-4. It's not worked,
Now for themselves.
and we have to stick to the fourth.
The 4-4 only worked. It worked against City. It works against City
because of spacing behind.
No, because it works against City because Pep does what he always does. When he plays Liverpool, he overthinks it and he went away from what he normally did. If Pep played,
it's not the first time he's worked.
I know he does it, but for some reason, Pep sees the Liverpool lineup and he's like, okay, you know what? They're going to do something. And so let me change what I'm doing. It never works when he changes it.
Do you know what? I think they would have been fine, bro. That mistake by Cancelo is like...
You got Leo?
Yeah, and I was going to say, you got to remember that of all the teams that Man City have had to play in this Pep run, Liverpool have given them the most trouble. And you've seen Pep is almost too intelligent for his own good because he's always trying to find a way to do something to counteract another team. But the strength in Man City's team is that the way they play in normal circumstances. And had they have stuck with what the formula that had got them to where they have been throughout the season, I actually think they probably would have given you guys more problems than they did playing or switching to 3 at the back.
100%.
Don't really understand that.
Again, the problem Liverpool always have or have a big dangerous City, and a lot of the league hasn't clocked onto it. Them defenders are pants, most of them. Most of City's defenders are not good defenders. Like they're like fillers. Like in terms of Cancelo's not a defender. Like he's wavy as a football player, tech. But ask him defend, absolute myth. Like,
but that's the strength. You would say that about Barcelona's defense when he was there.
That's how it was. Yeah,
that's the way. They have the ball so much they don't have to defend.
Yeah, they don't.
Daniel Alves didn't have to defend. He just had to do what he did. Back to your point,
and I think
Lenny. It's a Saturday free kickoff. Southampton.
Okay.
And
that's the last game before the World Cup.
Last game for the World Cup.
Yeah, it's that weekend.
And then no. You know what's mad is the World Cup ends in like 18th of December or something.
Boxing Day's first game.
And you know the first game, Boxing Day, the 26th is the first game after the World Cup's done. So looking forward to that. Obviously for you guys, January. What do you think? Most of you have said you need midfielders, but what is if you needed to sign 2 players? Who would they be? What positions? What are you looking at?
Mbappe and his brother.
I need 3 players. Leon, I'm not gonna lie to you. I need 3 players, but I need 3 players. I need a right.
Any suggestions?
Okay, I'll take Salcido.
What? Brighton, Salcido, or Caicedo?
Caicedo.
Yeah, Caicedo. And I'll take Kone. Actually, no. I've got a list. I can't lie to you. I've got a list of
number one. It's a controversial one. It's Mbappe and his brother. But then let's get away from that. Is it Douglas Costa? Douglas Luiz? What's his name? The Aston Villa guy.
He signed a new contract.
Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, Douglas Luiz. He signed a new contract. So whether that's so they get more money. So that's even a free, but I could go with that. Go on, who else?
Yeah. Trying to think. Midfielders. Because you have the problem you have with and Liverpool are really good at doing that. We never buy like the best of the best. You buy someone that will go to be. So you have to look at someone in someone's team and like, you know what, this guy is all right.
It's a complementary piece that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'd say? I don't know if Lenny might agree with me. I would check Aston Villa's resolve on Jacob Ramsey.
Really?
Not centre mid though. Not an out centre mid. No, not really.
For a 4-3-3 and how we play, he suits the system. But
is he any better than Curtis Jones? Is he any better than Curtis Jones to play in that role?
Technically, no. But what I'm looking for is I'm looking for legs, and he's someone who's playing at the
power
level
runner.
already.
Yeah,
he's a good, powerful runner. He always gets in the box. He covers the ground really well. He puts a foot in. I'm just looking like he's got steps to be a top midfield player, and I'm just looking at his like if you got him and Salcedo as two centre midfield players, I'm cool. Get me a right someone up like what's that guy for Salzburg?
Lima, Conrad Lima. I know he's at Leipzig, Salzburg.
He's Red Bull. He's at Red Bull.
Oh, Salzburg.
You know what I'm talking
about?
Leipzig.
I don't know if I'd take a chance on what's his name, Okafor.
Yeah, but I don't think we need him. For me,
no,
we don't need Okafor right now though. Like what we need to move forward this season.
Yeah,
I would. If we can't get Caicedo, which would be hard, I'd see if we can go get Enzo for Benfica. Try and get Enzo. Offer what we can offer for Enzo. Because listen, we're not getting Bellingham. As much as everyone's talking about Bellingham, we're not going to. I can't see us spending the money we want. But if we do, fantastic. But I'm taking him out of my mind that Bellingham's come to Liverpool.
I can't lie to you, James. I even took out I forgot Enzo.
Yes.
Enzo, I think even Lenny would just be like, okay, yeah, to give me this brother, because in midfield, he's got enough physical ability, and he can dribble out of a press. Like that's what I like about him as well. Yeah,
my second guy, who I showed Jason the other day, he'll still have a bit to learn, but I watch him, and people are gonna laugh at me. I don't care if they laugh; they can say whatever they want. And let me be clear, I'm talking about technique. I'm not talking about ability. I'm not talking about his overall ability. I'm talking about the way he passes, the way he crosses. Reminds me of De Bruyne. And his name is Branko van den Boomen. He's playing in France. Gets goals, gets assists, and being in Liverpool, it's a kind of project midfielder you can actually go and get. I'll get Enzo. I'll get those two in January and bring them in. The assists, the crossing, the corners he gets is what we actually need in midfield. He passes through the lines, which is only Thiago does in our midfield. He gets up and down. He gets assists, and he wouldn't cost us an arm and a leg. It's a January signing. You can actually say, you know what? They won't say no, get out of it. They may say, 25, 30 million, and it's probably only worth 20 maybe. But then you go and do that. But Enzo would be my number one. Unlikely, but you never know. And then we need two.
They won their group.
Would you take Ward-Prowse?
No,
absolutely.
I think we've gone beyond Ward-Prowse's level. No, buying Ward-Prowse would be substituting Henderson.
Yes,
he's better technically, of course, but it's just like a new Henderson.
Yeah, and then eventually you're gonna have in a year's time you're gonna be like,
fans are gonna get fed up and say, why didn't we find someone who had a high ceiling? Like, I'm not gonna disrespect Ward-Prowse. He's a good.
But you don't know what his ceiling is.
I think we do though. I think we do, because obviously you see glimpses when players play international football. And you can see what they can cope with.
Come on, man.
International football. But you can.
Southampton's probably better than England, bro.
Perfect example. As soon as we saw the Leeds former guy, what's his name? He's gone to Man City.
Hey, Phillips.
As soon as you saw Phillips play international football, you knew he belonged. At Leeds, people were still like, oh, but what can he actually do though? He's at Leeds and he's just running. All he's doing is running. And you saw it. And I wanted him. We've had this conversation before, Lenny. I actually wanted him a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago. And I was like, why don't we go and get this guy? And as the years have gone by, he's not what we need. It will just be another stepping gap. These are kind of guys. Even there's another guy, Lafay. Unheard of, so to agree. He's another French youngster. Looks good. And if they said, you know what, January we're bringing this guy in, I'll be happy. So up to you. That's all my guys anyway.
Cool. All right. Well, last question of the pod. I think it's a stupid question, and I'm sure as positive Liverpool fans, you know, I don't think you have any doubts. But do you think you'll make top 4 this season?
What are we now? 7 points behind?
Yeah, I think we're 7 points behind fourth.
It's nothing really.
How many games left? How many games played? Like 11, isn't it?
12. We played 12. Other teams played
12
13.
Games. Some played 13. So a third of the way in.
Yes.
We'll still finish ahead of Arsenal.
Wow. What's the gap between you and Arsenal right now?
17
15
points.
points.
Something
15
like that,
points,
yeah.
I think it is.
Whew, that's a.
Above. I've
joking, man.
got to say, I've said to a Chelsea fan, we're finishing above Chelsea. We're finishing in top 4. The top 4 question for me only happens in March. Like, you know where people are in March, and you can kind of see.
No, but we're dropping too far
because-
away at the moment. That's the concern, Jason.
No. The reason why I say not too far away, because, example, in October last year, Arsenal were nowhere near 4th. In March, they were in pole position.
They were in pole
to
position.
finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
pole
I get
position.
you. No, I'm agreeing with you. All I'm saying is, at the moment, we're not looking good. So there's no, how can I put it? There's no silver lining at the moment.
No,
We're great one week, we're terrible another week. Yeah, all the good sides will be all right with them because people want to press us. They're spacing behind, kick it long, Salah can go. But soon as we go break down. To be fair, part of the problem is we're not clinical. We've said this already. We had enough chances between Nottingham Forest and
Millie made 9 saves, record for the season so far on yesterday.
Yeah,
it's just where we're not clinical enough at the moment.
You know the reason why? Because we're the only team that's had the majority of our injuries, and a lot of teams haven't had their. Every team has their spell of injuries in the season, and when I look at everybody else's squad, when I look at Chelsea's is a jumble cell. Potter doesn't know his best 11.
Long may that continue playing Sterling wing back.
Sterling played wing back the last 2 games, Lenny. Every time he's come off, he's looking around like, what is this?
But when he did it for us, he asked for a transfer. Just remember that.
and because they're playing biscuit risk in goal, Kepa.
But he's injured now, so it might change.
Even if it's Mendy's
biscuit wrists.
Bro, Kepa will get to a shot, the ball will just hit his hand and go in. It's just a weird thing. And Mendy's not a good keeper; he's an average keeper that played behind the back 5. And plus, because Chelsea have quite an old centre back pairing, I just don't see where. Even though I have one of my favourite midfielders, Kovacic, I just don't see where Chelsea gel well in that sense. Spurs will have a run because Conte will have a run, but what I said to you, Leon, in general, because you have Lloris and those average
defenders
that you have.
Bunch of waste, man, bro.
I think yes.
But you score enough goals. You score goals. You've got Kane and Nemrod that score goals.
Kulu and Richarlison back, but
you're on 26 goals. That's a good number.
Richarlison's not part of your goals. He's just a nuisance. He's not part of anything.
He's there to get rid of the Spursy tag.
Yeah, he's just not. He doesn't add anything. The reality is, Richarlison is just to annoy everybody else. He doesn't score no goals. He misses easy chances.
A lot of money to annoy
Jason doesn't like Richarlison, as you can tell.
You can tell I don't like him. But for
I'm
60 million, Lenny,
but he's our player now, so I have to back him.
We got given a chance to sign him. Do you know that? But Klopp said no.
Of course.
Yeah, he's a Liverpool player. I mean, he's an former Everton player. He's not going to sign him.
Nah, and plus he did all that talking in it. So
Arsenal are, I think, us in 17-18 season, but because they don't have the squad depth, is where they may fall issue. They have
the lost Saka today, innit?
The lost Saka today.
Yeah,
Martinelli is brilliant. Jesus doesn't score enough.
And but Jesus is their most important player. He doesn't score enough. But if
they lose him, they're in trouble. For me, I say yes. We're 8 points behind. We came back from worse than that last season to challenge with Man City. Much worse. I don't think we're going to beat you guys this weekend, so the gap could get bigger.
You would say
Thompson,
that?
I know you would say yes, of course we will, but I don't think we'll win. And I can actually see us losing the game. Hopefully we don't, but I can see it happening. Against Southampton, just like the last 2 games, we should win, but we don't know what we're going to get. Yeah. So I'm just banking on World Cup being done, us still being within 8 points of top 4.
No injuries, no major injuries.
No one gets injured during the World Cup, and the guys come back. And if we're fully fit come December 26th, then yes. we're going to go on a run and we're going to get top 4 and we'll finish 3rd or 4th. I don't see us catching Man City and Arsenal, even though, because Tottenham and Newcastle's 2 points. So if I can say we can catch Tottenham, it doesn't make sense for me to say we can't just catch someone's 2 points ahead of them. So
I do think
3rd
with
or 4th.
Newcastle they will sign in January because they have got that thing. Arsenal are gonna sign, but I do feel like the fact that they're in Europa and they're trying to balance the two, and Arteta's realised that the squad is not as strong as he thought it was by having to play the last 2 games against PSV. He's played the full centre squad because he realises that the drop in quality is too much, and that's it's too big for what he wants to do. Now they will drop points because there'll be a point in a season when they don't have all these players there, and City, as long as Haaland comes back, as long as Haaland's fit,
They'll be
saw
fine
it yesterday.
They'll be fine without Haaland, bruv.
they will to a degree, but
They'll win more
one
than
thing.
enough.
No, what you got to realize is that them losing Jesus and Sterling.
Yeah.
Yes, Haaland supplements them in goals.
Okay, yeah,
but
I get that.
Without Haaland being there, if Haaland being there and Alvarez is still learning the league, they don't have the bridge of the gap. Grealish doesn't do enough. Foden and Mahrez can pick up the team, but they're not always goal scorers.
Yeah.
Like Jesus and Sterling was, they were match winners. So they're going to have that little lull depending on the rhythm of the side. But it'll be interesting because we don't know. After World Cup,
We need to
this
be
is the
100%
unknown.
fit. We need to be fit, man.
Yeah.
We're fit after World Cup, then everyone needs to watch out, hopefully.
And I need Jota and Diaz fit.
Jota is the one. Jota has got no time scale. Diaz is due back for that game, but the worrying thing is Jota hasn't got one. And you look for when everyone's coming back, there's no time frame for Jota, so Jota could be any time. Klopp said it was a really bad one. So,
Well, as you said, there's a long way to go. I'm sure once the World Cup is over, a lot of the squads will know where they stand, and then the January transfer window will follow. So we'll watch this space. But on that note, we will wrap up for today. Just want to say thank you again, Jason and Lenzo, for joining us. And as per usual, James, remember to subscribe to the Armchair Pundits. And thank you for watching. Till the next time, take care.
peace.
Take it easy. Peace.